Good morning, YouTube, and coming at you today. This is kind of an update video, and it's kind of it's going to be two parts. First one is going to be about a comment that went back and forth on another video of mine about the BioLite camp stove 2, and two things with this. First one being, there's adjust that. Okay, there's some modifications that have been done on these on other videos about wrapping this up with like foil. It looks like almost like duct tape, but it's like a foil version. I got in touch with BioLite this week about that, and they don't recommend doing it. Biggest reason is there's not really any reason that it can help unless there was like something extreme, but the heat sink is inside, so with this plastic barrier on the outside of it, there's not any way for that to aid the heat sink that's connected to these vents right here. My thought was that if you put that foil wrap stuff on here and the actual battery it's down in the bottom right here, right underneath the fan, if that started to heat up, you might have a problem with it actually acting like a blanket on that, like one of those thermal survival blankets, and the battery could start heating up and then start heating itself up even more simply because it's got that on there. BioLite did not recommend doing that. I don't recommend doing that. Then I just kind of like the way this looks anyways. I've had mine since 2013. I have no burn marks on this. I have a lot of soot and crap that's on the top of it, around the sides, but I know there was a few people who had these out in windier conditions, and honestly it looked like they put this where this was on the downwind side of the the actual combustion chamber, so the wind was passing over like this and it blew embers right on top of this, which and the instruction says don't do. But anyways, so that being the first one, so BioLite and I do not recommend wrapping this in foil. That being the first one. Second thing with this, yes, this is hefty. This is, I think it's around 1.5 pounds ish, so it does have some weight to it. So would I use this for hiking? That depends. If I was going on a day hike, no. Even 2 days, probably not. I'll take my Esbit stove, which I'm actually got going right there with my breakfast in it. I would take that. Just, it's so much lighter. I can take a certain amount of fuel tabs. I would just take that. It's just so much lighter. I can take 4 fuel tabs with that, and the rest of the time I can have things like wild Zora bars and dried fruit and dried vegetables, and I could be fine for a few days. Long-term camping, 4, 5, 6 days. I think one of the things people forget when they say, oh, this thing weighs, 1.5 pounds, or a little over 1.5 pounds. I think something they forget is those little stoves that go on top of the other gas canisters. Yeah, those might only weigh a few ounces. How many of those gas canisters do you have to take? When the cost of bringing those gas canisters outweighs the physical weight of this whole device, your argument is already invalid. Because if you have to take 4 gas canisters, let's say, or 5 gas canisters at 6 ounces, 7 ounces each, you've already gotten close to the weight of this anyways. And with this, you can use this all the time without having to bring any fuel with you, depending on your location. That's another issue too, is judge it on your location, where you're camping, or where you're going to be spending a backpacking trip, versus the the weight of the fuel for the other stove. Even the Esbit stove, with it being super light. I mean, this little box is 12 times ½ ounce, so we're at 6 ounces on this. The stove weighs maybe 6 ounces. I'm still under the weight with 12 solid fuel tabs in that stove. I'm still less weight than the BioLite, and that's to heat up 12 meals. But if I had to bring 3 of these boxes plus that, I'm already at the weight of the BioLite, almost, you know, depending on how long I was going out, because 12 fuel tabs, if you're heating up 3 meals a day, or water for 3 meals a day with those fuel tabs, that's only 4 days worth of fuel tabs. And let's say you're in a climate where it takes 2 of those tabs to boil water. Depending on where you're at, it could take 2 of those tablets to boil water. Could take half a tablet to boil water, depending on where you're at. So, things you have to judge when you're going to go hiking. So, that's the first part of the video. The second part of the video, I'll be back. Flip 10, pretty much exactly where it was before. I get, if my phone's shut off, I can almost get a full charge. It gets up to like 80-ish%. Flip 20, my phone's off, I will get 100% charge with a Flip 20 if I put it on airplane mode and I don't mess with it. So no music, no nothing. Leave it off, leave it alone. I'll get 100% out of this with this just about ready to die. Flip 30 with it off, with my phone off, and I have an iPhone 7 Plus. I'm getting, if I leave my phone off, I'm getting 2 full charges out of the Flip 30. So, that being said, there was a comment that was brought up to me on one of my other videos on this one. Something I neglected to say, or show. And it was how to charge these without a cord. And it's this little guy right here. You can plug that into any USB port, and that charges it. I'll put pictures at the end of this that I took of the, and all of them are this way. The Flip 10, the Flip 20, and the Flip 30 all have the same little connector right here. It's opposite of the side of the blue lights. I would have had the Flip 30 out here, but I'm charging it right now. I used it to charge my phone last night. And that's how you charge it without a cord. How you charge your devices, you plug them right into the top right here. This is the USB out. This is USB in. One thing I did notice with this is when I plug these into cables, because I didn't have an outlet before I got the charge dock. When I was plugging these into the outlet, I was using a cable to charge these, which I'm not sure if I've got it right here. Yeah, I do. I was using a cable like this, where it's got one male and one female end, and I was just plugging it in like this, just to run a cord to a USB port, so that this could sit, so it wasn't dangling sideways out of my computer, or sitting awkward out of my laptop, or hanging from a wall socket, from a USB port that I had in a wall socket. It can take a long time to charge these using a cable. depending on the cable. If you have a good cable, I'm assuming it would just be like putting it right into the wall with no issue. This one, or the cables I have, the one I just showed you, did not do that. It took a long time. It was taking 12 to 14 hours to charge the Flip 20. Normally this will charge in about 3 or 4 hours off of the USB, off of the wall outlet. And then I've got a full charge on this and I'm good to go for the day. So anyways, that was my Flip update. I do recommend getting that Flip dock. It is very convenient if you have a plug that's up higher, like an outlet in a kitchen that's not being used, that's up above the counter, where you can just reach it and plug it in. I like them up where I can reach them. Most of our wall plugs are behind furniture and stuff, so they're not convenient to use. Luckily we have one outlet that's up high, and it's very convenient to have them like that, set up that way. So anyways, quick recap of the video. Do I recommend these? Yes, I do. I have some issues with Goal Zero, but I love their products. Their products are rad. And you guys can see I've got the Nomad 20, I've got 2 7s, I've got the 3.5 panel, I have a bunch of the Nomads. I think I have 5 different Nomad batteries. I have 3 of the 10s, a 20 and a 30. And I use these every day. This guy, do I recommend this for hiking? Depends. It honestly depends. Take into consideration where you're going, how long you're going to be out. Does the fuel you've got to bring with a gas or propane stove outweigh the weight of this? If it does, this guy's the better way to go. If it doesn't, then the gas one's the better way to go, or the Esbit stove, like I pointed out. You know, I keep a few different options around, and yes, I know this is the older one. I use this one as an example today. The new one weighs about the same, so it's that part doesn't matter too much. But for that, take into consideration where you're going, if you need to power stuff, if you have, you know, cameras, if you have phones, if you have, you know, what are your devices you need to bring? You know, are you going to be fine on just a solar panel that you can only charge during the day, or do you need something that you can charge stuff in the evening? A big recommendation, what I've seen a lot of people do in the older videos from a few years ago when that first came out, was they were hooking up this battery to it originally, which is the Goal Zero. This is the Switch 8 battery, and being able to run that, to charge that from the first generation BioLite stove, and then they were able to charge an original iPad from it. And the original iPads were very power hungry. So, you know, it's all about, when you go hiking or camping, it's all about considerations. What do you need to bring? What do you need to have? And what are your needs during that time? And if you've got to bring, if you're going on a month-long hiking trip, like across the Appalachian Trail, or you know, you're going to be gone for months or month, why bring like 20 gas cans? That's a huge amount of weight and cleanup that you have to consider, because you have to take that stuff out with you. So now, on the other hand, if you took something like this, you're dealing with it as you go. That's not bad for the environment. It's good. The stuff that comes out of there, it's all right for the plants. So anyways, I know this was a really long video, guys. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. If you guys have any comments, please comment. I love comments. I try to get back to you guys as quick as I can. Thanks again, and I will catch you guys next time.